Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Lyric, and if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. I still don't know where I'm looking at, and we're not going to correct that in this video either. So today I am reading the boyfriend material. I'm at the very beginning, not quite sure how I feel about it. It has all the tropes supposedly that I like, but the writing style is not my thing so far, so I'm waiting for love interest. You didn't ask for this, but there you go. So today is going to be a little bit different. Usually I'm here mostly gushing about books, but we're not gonna do that today. So today we're still on the topic of books, but we're going to be talking about books I DNF'd, also known as did not finish. So let's begin. So I have my Goodreads DNF folder right here. Some of these were I'm not going to talk about because they're ones that I just didn't finish at the time, and I do plan on going back to, but some of these I have reasons for, and we're going to get into that. I wanted to do this video because one of these books is, well, I guess it's out now, has a sequel that just came out. We'll talk about it. Okay, so the last book that one of the last books that I DNF'd, I still have. I'm probably gonna donate this because I can see other people liking it. I think I mentioned it in my, was it my last book haul? I think it was when my little vlog thing that you guys seem to like, so thank you. But this is called The Girl Who Drank the Moon. I wanted to read it in October because it was on a lot of people's, like, or maybe it was just Books and Lala, who can say, but it was on people's like spooky kind of vibey Halloweeny book list, and it's also a middle grade, which I don't really read that much anymore. I mean, I am mid-20s, but I wanted to venture in because I thought it sounded really good, and essentially it's kind of like a miscommunication fantasy kind of thing where these people in the village are always told that this witch is evil and they have to sacrifice their babies to her, or like bad things will happen. But it's all a misunderstanding, and she's actually really sweet, and she doesn't know why all these babies are going into the woods for no reason, so she takes care of them, gives them in good homes. It's actually kind of cute and interesting take. But this girl is one of the babies that why do I keep saying baby so weird? Okay, Moira, but this is one of the babies that she adopts, that she grows accustomed to, and through a chain of events accidentally feeds her some of the moon, which gives her some power, and it's about her story and coming of age. I ended up DNFing it. So I had to go on a work trip, and I brought a few books with me, and this happened to be one of them, and I planned to read it on the plane going home. And besides me having to take medicine for massive like motion sickness and paranoia and all that of other sickness, I just had a really hard time getting into it. So it took me about like a week or so after being back home to get back into it, and I just don't know if that added to it, but it's a very repetitive book, and I don't know, because I really like books like Stardust or The Princess Bride, and it kind of has a similar vibe even to like Inkheart or Once Upon a Marigold, but there's something about it that was just like boring, and it has so many intertwined stories that are by themselves kind of interesting, but it drags on so slowly. It's actually pretty dark and heavy, I think, for middle grade, but I think it also handles it in a nice way. It was just a lot of thoughts, and it wasn't, I kind of like those fantastical fantasies where it's all around the place, but this felt like someone else's dream, and they were telling you the dream, but they only remembered bits and pieces, and it just ended up being very boring, and you were like, do I show up in this dream? And they're like, no, and you're just like, okay. That's what it felt like reading this book, and I felt so bad for DNFing it, but I did. But I still think someone else might like it, so it's going into my donation pile. Next. Okay, so this next one is a classic, and I have to say I felt thought for a really long time on whether or not I was going to DNF it, because there's this kind of like elitism with classics, and it's a sci-fi horror classic. But y'all, it was boring. It was so boring, and it shouldn't have been. Like, it started off really interesting, and then I was like, okay, but, and I don't know. It's The Invisible Man, and once again, I got pretty far into this one, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna look it up. And what happens? The guy was awful. I guess I never realized that The Invisible Man was the, like, bad guy. I don't know why, but like in pop culture, I just never really put two to two together that he was the worst. And it's kind of, the book is almost comical. It's not bad, I just was kind of bored, and I think I ended up saving it, or I might have donated it because I know that I can get it back. But I like H.G. Wells, so it's not that I find him as an author boring, it's just this one was just kind of like fine. But I think if you were to read this book less as like thinking of it as modern sci-fi or modern horror, and think of it more as a comedy, it is way more enjoyable, because it's there's a lot of just like insane things that happen, and I think it's, for me, I found it more funny than anything else. The guy is super pretentious, just like one of our other books. So that was The Invisible Man. Might go back. I don't think that I would go back and read it. I just don't see a point, but whatever. The next way to articulate. The next one was Girl, Serpent, Thorn. I'm gonna talk about this one more in my TBR wrap-up, which I think I'm just gonna go ahead and admit that I'm not going to finish my TBR from that video and just film what I have. I mean, the book I'm reading right now is not even on that list. I just have been really mood reading lately, so it is what it is. But oh my god, I wanted to like that book so much. It was kind of like Shatter Me meets the vibes of I was gonna say Until Dawn. That's a video game. The Wrath of the Dawn, or Wrath in the Dawn, or whatever. It kind of felt like a collaboration of those, but not fun. I do kind of want to go back and read it because I was really excited about it, but it's been DNF'd indefinitely because it was put me in a really bad reading slump, to be honest. Speaking of reading slumps and things that I really wanted to enjoy, so Kirsten, is it Kirsten? Yeah, Kirsten White has a book, The Guinevere Deception or Complex or something like that. I'll try to post it or link it below, but it sounds really good. I really like Arthur, especially after really getting into Fate, the Fate anime. I just got really into Camelot. There used to be a book series that got turned into a TV series that I really liked that had to do with Camelot, and I just am really interested in that, but I couldn't get it at first. I have it now, but I couldn't get it at first, and I saw I think at like Books A Million they had I Darken, which is by the same author, discounted, and I was like, okay, cool, like I'll give it a shot and see how it. Oh my god, it is so boring. Like, no. And oh my god, don't even get me started. Okay, first of all, unlikable main character, which I typically like. Convoluted love triangle, which I typically like. Tense relationships between family, which I typically like. Royalty, boss women, like. So boring. There is so much in between that is nothing, and I kept like waiting for the good parts. Like when I read, I don't know if this is on here, it is, I'll talk about another book that I did this to later on that I wanted to like so bad, but oh my god, and it's so long. It's like 500 pages, which is not too long in like the book scheme of things, but when you're constantly like, okay, I've read 10 pages, oh my god, I'm only on 240. Oh my god. Like, I have to read another 50 pages, and like, you're like forcing yourself to read it. Am I the only one? Like, are you guys, am I dumb? Did I miss something? It was so boring. And also, this is like a little thing for me, like it's a very specific thing that I don't like in books, but I don't really like cheating, or and maybe this is a cultural thing, but it really could be, but I didn't really like the harem aspect. I was like, boo, no, no, nope, nope, no, no. Like, just because I guess for me, personally, reading it, I was like, he talked all this talk, and then he did all that walk with everyone else, like, what? And then the way, I don't know. It was messy. It was messy. If you like fantasy that's kind of slow, very slow, that's messy, then you might like this. But I didn't. So I think, like I said, I think at like 300 pages in, I was over halfway, and I was finally like, I don't even remember anyone's names. I put this book down and it's gone. Poof. So it's time to DNF. These next two, real quick, are two books that I do want to pick back up. They're both parts of like series, and I was so like removed from the series by the time I picked them up that I didn't want like to reinvest that time. But it's The Toll by Neil Shusterman. It's The Toll by Neil Shusterman, and King of Scars by Lee Bardugo, which I am gonna try to force myself to read because I know the second one's gonna come out. But I did also spoil myself because I'm gonna be honest, so I read them in order. So I read the Grisa trilogy once, and then I read Sage and Storm trilogy, whatever. And then I read Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom. Good, amazing books. Could talk about them for years. If you haven't read them, please read them. You know who you are. But King of Scars, which is, Nikolai is the best. Nikolai is the best. He's like the best. He's like one of the best parts of the original trilogy, and then, you know, like, it's, come on, he's rock solid. Why was the beginning so boring? Like, I don't know, but I will go back in. I think at that time, like, I was just like, I don't remember anybody's names, I don't know what they're talking about, so I just deuced out. But then I kind of like was skimming the pages and I caught someone's name, so I kind of goofed. I done goofed, so that made me want to put it away and see if I can hopefully forget what I know and then pick it back up. But now that the sequel's coming out, or I'm like, speaking of sequels, so sorry, that was aggressive, but speaking of sequels, why is Six of Crows? Me having like a whole thing. Why is Six of Crows now saying it's a trilogy? Can we not? We could just Lee. We will forget it. We can all just pretend this never happened. Just move. Goodreads. Change it back to duology. We can forget it. We will poof, gone. Don't even remember. There was no third one. Ever. Gone. Don't do it. Please. Please. Like, God, that duology is perfect. It is God tier. Everyone knows it's God tier. Don't mess it up. Please. Please. If I even see one character that smells or looks a little bit like Mal, because that is a gross. Mal needs no rights. Then please don't ruin it. Please don't ruin it. You won't. It's your world, but still, like, God, it does not need. You know what? I'm gonna go on record. I'm talking mad trash. We all know I'm gonna buy it and read it. If it's good, don't use this against me, please. Some of y'all about to be mad. But let's be honest. This only gets like 11 views. I can say what I need to say. The Goldfinch was awful. God awful. I will continue. So when I was talking about pretentious characters and having to force yourself to keep going, I wanted to like this book so bad. So Kayla from Books and Lala, who I love this book, and it's, oh, am I dumb? Like, that's what I kept feeling like reading this book. I was like, if I don't finish this, I must be stupid, because everyone else is seeing something that I just simply do not see. I've heard that The Secret History is good, but also I'm not willing, I'll be honest, I'm not willing to read it at this point in time. Let me know what you think, if I should, but that is a commitment. You were asking for a marriage, and I am not there yet. So, okay, The Goldfinch is, I hate to say a book about nothing, because it has a plot. But a lot of nothing happens. And okay, fine. Say it's a modern Les Mis. Say every pointless little thing is actually related to something else. Ugh. Say I'm too dumb for literary fiction. I don't care. That book is so boring. And you would have, the thing that I'm mad about is it's very clear that Donna Tartt is a good writer, right? Like, it's not, it makes sense. It's cohesive. The words are there in the book. You can read it. But, oh my God, so much of nothing happens. Like, I'm not asking for a soap opera, but what in the world? Okay, so let me actually form an actual thought that is into a sentence. So the worst part about this book is there are some parts that are interesting and fun, and I was like, okay, things are happening, things are picking up, and as soon as I would be like, wow, there's plot in this book, it would be over. And then I'd be like another 50 to 100 pages, and this is another book that I was like, okay, Lyric, if you can read 10 pages, you can go get a snack. If you can read 20 pages, you can go take a nap. You can watch some anime if you read 30. Like, I was bribing myself to finish this book. I gave myself an entire month just for this book. I was carrying it with me to work, both jobs, like reading it in between. Oh my God, I dedicated too much to this book. It was on my Instagram. I was like, this is gonna be it. It was not. There would be, like I said, interesting parts, and I'd be like, okay, great. So this is picking up. It was well worth it. Then they would end 2 pages later, and then it would be 50 pages talking about utter nonsense. And then I'd be like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna DNF it. Let me give it another sentence. Oops, something's interesting happened. Okay, read. It's over. Back to another 50 pages of nothing, but something did happen. So let's continue reading. Nothing. I wanted to go see the movie in theaters, but I put it off because I was like, we're gonna read the book first. That is what good readers do. It doesn't matter, but that is what good readers do, and I'm gonna do it. I was an employee. Sorry, but I still haven't seen the movie because I'm so like, is it worth it? Let me know. You know, everyone says that people prefer rant videos to like positive videos, and maybe that's true, but I feel like I'm inarticulate for both. I liked the scenes where they were at the house sometimes. They were at the house a lot. And then they were talking about school. They were talking about this. Okay. I don't think I like literary fiction. I'm just going to say it right now. I don't think I'm into it. Give me trashy romance where something crazy and unrealistic is happening every page. Okay? Give me fantasy. Give me YA well into my 20s. Don't give me a book talking about layouts of houses for far too long. I do not care. Add a dragon in, and then we'll talk. So I'm going to start with a book that I do plan on rereading, and I will explain why, because I know that it's slightly, not so slightly problematic. That book is American Psycho. Now here's why. I want to go back and reread it because I actually really like the movie. Is that bad? I mean, it's a good movie. It's just got unlikable characters, and I don't like when the people that watch that movie and say that they like it say that they want to be like the characters, because it's like, ooh, did you watch the same movie as I did? Did you get it? Because yikes, big yikes. I do think it's fun. I think it's a fun movie. It's also a musical. We'll talk about that some other day, right? But I want to read the book. But God, is it pretentious. Oh, you know what? This is perfect. It's perfect that these two books are next to each other, because I actually don't get all the references in American Psycho. I'm a 90s baby. So I was texting my friend who was born in the 80s, and they're like, what's that? What's this? But American Psycho kind of treats you like you know what they're talking about, even if it's a reference that you might not know. It is pretentious in that way, where it assumes that, oh, everyone knows this, blah, blah. Also, the character Patrick Bateman is 10 times as unlikable in the book. I put it down because I wasn't getting it, and I was going to be in a slump, but I do want to get back into it when I have more time to dedicate to a single book, instead of like going through things pretty quickly. But yeah, the kind of like pretension, or I hate to keep saying pretentiousness, but I mean, it is what it is more into the like, oh, you know what I'm talking about. Like, if you don't, you wouldn't be reading this book, right? And the author himself, from what I heard, is like not super great, but I'm interested in the story. You know, I'm gonna try it, maybe. And that's that. But I DNF'd it because at the time I couldn't focus on it. I didn't know all of what he was talking about, and I did not want to feel dumb. So anyway, let's talk about Ready Player One. Are you ready? Player One? Oh God, sorry. I'm sorry. Cancel me for that joke. That was awful. You know what else is you know what else is awful? Anyone? Anyone? Ready Player One is one of the worst books. One of the worst books that I have read in recent history. And here's why. So I was really excited because for me, the movie looked really good. I know. Consumerism, the movie, right? But I kind of liked it. Like, I do like talking about things that make me nostalgic. Give me that sweatshirt with the Powerpuff Girls on it. Let's talk about, 90s cartoons. When they brought back Invader Zim, I kept, like, the movie, I kept it. I still haven't watched it. I am saving it because I am that excited that it is still in my list. Not because I don't want to watch it, but because I want to watch it so bad that I won't let myself watch it. I love those kind of things. Like, I do. I like sci-fi. I, at first, was really into Sword Art Online. I'm actually playing the game on my Switch right now. Even though that in itself is a topic for another day. But, I was really intrigued. I was really wanted to like this. Again, Kayla, you let me down. But that's okay. Still one of the best booktubers I know. Or that I watch, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, oh my God, what a hot pile of steaming garbage that book was. Let me give my actual thoughts. And not just what I did with the Goldfinch, which is like, oh, gross. Ready Player One is also pretentious, but it's like you don't know what they're talking about when they're talking about is something that you would know. Once again, I am a 90s baby, but I do have a lot of older cousins, even older friends who were 80s babies, and they obviously, things bleed together. I know a good bit about 80s culture, I would say enough to read Ready Player One. Here's the thing. It reads like all of these things are obscure references, and I'm sure to the characters in the book they are, but the characters in the book are not reading your book. They're in it. That's their world. So the kind of assumption that, here's what it sounds like reading Ready Player One. Oh, you don't know about Netflix? Well, I am the queen of Netflix. I know all about Arrested Development, Stranger Things. Oh, you don't know about Stranger Things? You don't know about the Demogorgon? I know all of the species of Demogorgons, and I'm going to list them in an unbroken paragraph so that you know that I know what I talked about, and not me Googling some of these things just to make sure that I'm right, because, you know, that's what a normal human being would do, because not everyone has all of this knowledge. But even if they do, it's something that they're like, oh yeah, I remember that scene, that was there, cool. And not that they obsessively write a book of list talking about the Goldfinch and having to shift through all the pages to get to the actual plot. Ready Player One feels like a BuzzFeed of all the things you remember about the 80s, with like plot thrown in every 2 chapters. Oh my god. And it felt insulting. Like, I know these things, you don't have to list them out to me. Get to the part. Put your headset on, do something interesting, please. Don't reference things that aren't that far in this subculture or this culture and be like, well, it's the future. And also, if it's the future and they're so obsessed with the 80s, there's still like the plot hole of where's everything else? Like, there's so much that we didn't cover because we were so busy listing all the characters. Sorry, y'all. I started cussing in that rant, and we can't have that. So, don't list all the characters for movies that everyone has freaking seen. You are not special because you watched The Goonies as a kid. I am not special because I watched it. Because 1 million people watched it. It is cool. It is your childhood. You don't need to make this fantasy in which 10 years, thousands of years into the future, people have discovered the power of John Hughes films. And also, don't label John Hughes films as mostly female things. Don't be like, I even know the girly stuff. It's so... This book is what it feels like to be a nerd in male-dominated areas. This book is what a conversation feels like when you go to a con dressed up as a character from a show that you love, and you get asked about every OP and ending song ever in that musical anime, and actors, and if you know what the other actors have been in, and if you don't, you're just trying to wear that costume to look cute and get guys, because everyone knows that guys who don't wear deodorant at anime conventions are what women really want. That's what this book feels like. You see the anger in my eyes? Why did it get a movie? And the thing is, I haven't watched the movie because I was on pure rage after reading the book. But the thing is, like, there's so many, like, deserving... Warcross would be an excellent movie, I feel. Like, I realized, because I know I've said this in a wrap-up or whatever, that I said that I like video game books. Realized that the two that I really love are by women. And I think there's a reason for that. It was infuriating. And now there's a sequel on my timeline? People on my timeline talking about being excited for this listicle? For this BuzzFeed 80s article? No ma'am. No sir. No they. No. So I did not finish it. And if you finished this video, thank you. It was a lot of sass and a lot of trash. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Speaking of trash and sass, I do want to talk about different topics on this channel. I want to explore more anime, more films, and more musicals and other things that I'm kind of interested in. However, I am filming this video instead of packing for a move. That's my bed frame. That's taken down because I'm moving in a few days and I still need to pack. So there may be some inconsistencies with uploading. This might come out next week, I'm not sure, but I do have a lot of topics that I want to explore. I'm very excited for 2021. I have a lot of ideas. So if you guys have anything that you specifically want me to talk about, if you like this rant video, let me know. I got opinions, and in the next one I'll try to state them a little bit better. Anyway, thanks you guys. It's past Thanksgiving, so I hope you ate food and didn't spread this super virus. Also, different angle, worse hair. Look up Ernest Cline's poem. If you know, you know. If not, I wish I would not get in trouble for reading it out loud. I mean, I'm not monetized yet. Maybe I can't, but okay, bye.